Hi, I'm Paul Ford.
And I'm Rich Ciotti.
And this is the Aboard Podcast. And we are at a studio looking into cameras, looking at each other.
I'm going to look into your eyes, deep into your eyes, Paul.
You know, it's one of my best features. I have to admit, there's a lot of features that are not the best, but...
You have very nice eyes.
My children hate them.
They hate your eyes?
They're just like, it's like gray. It's like a dark seaside nightmare.
Yeah. It's very Irish.
Thank you.
Yes, I wanted to actually talk about children.
Great. That absolutely is going to go in a good direction.
In the context of AI and this Aboard Podcast.
I mean, because even though we have changed the name of the podcast, we still see AI as a really, really big change. I want to say one thing, though. I think in a year, we may not be talking about AI as much as we are today.
I'm okay with that, by the way.
I think everybody needs to calm down. Like the star baby's not going to get born. We're going to learn how to use these technologies, and software is going to go back to being boring. And you and I are going to go back to being boring.
We're never boring.
No, I'm very boring.
Fine.
Yes,
fine.
I thought you agreed.
I want to open the podcast with a question.
Okay.
But why don't we play the theme song, and then we're off to the races.
Everybody loves when we announce the theme song.
You're listening to the Aboard Podcast.
Okay, you said you had a question about children, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have children with you.
Okay, that's fine. I don't want to have children with you. Do you worry about your kids? Your kids are 13.
I worry about my kids every
No. Let me narrow the question. Your kids are 13-year-old twins. I've got a 12 and 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't do 13-year-old twins, by the way. If you're at home and you have a choice, just
skip.
Just pace it.
Skip episode.
Yeah.
Next episode.
That's right. I binged.
Yeah.
I binge-childed, and
yeah.
It's a lot.
One of my kids has a phone.
Yeah, I should be careful because, they might listen. I love you. I love you. I'm glad I had twins. It's great. It was a wonderful choice. My daughter's terrified that her friends will find out about this podcast. Anyway, keep going.
My son thinks it's cool, which is cool.
My daughter was like, "You're doing video? You're going to be on TikTok?"
Yeah.
And then she literally went,
"Yeah.
Could you not do that?"
They've got incredible tools. They ask questions. Before AI, we have like a Google Home thing where you can say, "Hey, Google, how far away is Montreal?"
Someone very close to us, their daughter's first word was Google.
Yes.
Because they had the Google device in the home.
Before.
And she heard the parent saying, "Hey, Google."
Hey, Google, hey, Google.
Her first words were, "Hey, Google."
So they pull knowledge all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Yep.
They get facts all the time. They learn about things in very casual ways, but my son is not into reading. He just doesn't like it. It's not that crazy. There's a lot of kids that love to read. Some kids just are bored by reading. All this stuff is at their fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
All these capabilities are like answers to everything are right there. Not only are they right there, it'll write a paragraph, an essay. It'll answer everything you want. Do you worry about your kids? In this world that is getting more and more convenient, answers are instantaneous and the like.
It's a really good question. I do and I don't, in that I'm happy for them that they live in a world of absolute infinite data plenty. Wikipedia is a hell of a thing to have as a child.
It's awesome.
Right? It's really, really powerful. The internet is very, very powerful. The way I see it, actually, I think that what it means is that the onus of learning to responsibly and ethically use these things falls on them, and it falls on them before they're ready. Because what I see, I'm walking down the street. There are two technologies in New York City that have changed the city radically. Phones, and people just kind of stop in the middle of the street, and legal weed. Frankly, those two together mean that it's really hard to walk down the street.
It's hard to work. It's the same outcome.
It's literally... It's
a lot of freezing and looking out.
People hit the train turnstile and just are done. They're like, what do I do with my phone?
Yeah.
The term in my head recently, I just keep thinking, are we in a cognitive recession? Have we just kind of are we losing 10%? So, and I feel that you have these super mega wonder tools that let you learn and do absolutely everything, but they have the actual experience is it's like eating 50 hamburgers for lunch. I mean, it's just sort of like they're just stupefied when you really go into it.
It's overwhelming.
And then you add with AI. AI is an unbelievably subtle technology that seems incredibly easy. Okay, you ask it a question, it gives you an answer. The answer maybe 30% lies. It is a statistical sort of like aberration emerging from a vector database. And now you're going to ask a 12 or 13-year-old to understand the fine lines about where the content came from, provenance, quality, citations. It'll make up citations. As the AIs are getting smarter, the new models, they're hallucinating more. There was a big article in the Times about that. So, like, they're getting
That's
smarter.
because of legal weed.
That's exactly. We have given, there's just...
Someone is stuffing legal weed.
That's the secret Sam Altman moment where he goes in and he puts, like, a tin of 500 milligram THC, like special AI pellets.
Here's my fear.
Okay, what is your fear?
This is old. By the way, this like new technology. We're not gonna think anymore. We're not gonna read. Radio is gonna pollute our souls.
It's books, novels,
comics.
Novels were gonna ruin our young women.
Women shouldn't read novels. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like a little bit like a broken record. But
don't just feel. Just own it.
But here's my actual fear.
Okay.
I do want both, or ideally at least one of my kids, to be really good at something, like to have
like a skill or a craft or a hobby.
Like a really, really deep into, and I don't even care what it is. Like I need them to have the tenacity and the patience to want to bore into something very specific and dive into it in intense because they love it and they're interested in it. And I feel like it's a lot of grazing. It's a lot of, everything is sort of a snack size bite nowadays. And so that desire, I've gotten my kids into video games that I want them to play because I think they're actually good cognitively. I try, right?
What's a good cognitive video game, for example?
Like real-time strategy games, role-playing games that require a little more thinking than just
planning,
shooting everything.
They reward some focus. Absolutely.
That's right.
It's not just shooting.
That's right. Even like city-building games, like Civilization and all those.
I mean, City Skyline is like an urban planning degree.
Yeah. They give me 3.8 minutes.
There's not a lot of patience in the world right now.
It's not I don't know if it's a world thing. Is it a world thing?
I wouldn't say you're the most patient guy in the world.
Don't make this about me.
No, but it is about your family.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So young children are not grinders.
Fine.
They're not grinders.
Fine.
I don't think, I think let's take this up a level, right? You've got this world now. There are a bunch of articles showing up. There's one, you read one, there's one in New York Mag right now. Nobody's writing their own papers. Right, they're just they're letting ChatGPT do the work. They're like a Columbia. They're whatever.
Yeah,
right? And that's what part of me is like,
imagine the parent who just cut the tuition check.
Oh yeah.
You're like, get out there, kill it.
We had Clay Shirky from NYU, who's the provost there, talking about how they're negotiating this. This is the future. The future is that like students will just continually turn in AI generated stuff. And then there are people who are like, look, we're going to have to make our peace with the technology and so on. But I think one of the things I think we should just acknowledge is that it is a crisis. Like in that the way that things used to work, and there was kind of a guaranteed outcome. You come to college, if you're relatively smart, you did okay on the standardized test, you're going to work really hard. If you work hard, you're going to do okay. We're gonna get you there.
Yeah.
Now you have to avoid too many drugs. You have to avoid there's a set of like social contracts inherent in that. But on the other side of this, you're going to learn a bunch of stuff, and you'll be able to participate in society in a discipline along the roles that we've outlined.
Yeah.
Okay. That contract is clearly valueless to a lot of people right now. They're like, I just want to get my thing. I want to get my piece of paper because my parents want me to, or I want to go on in life, or I want to do something.
Yeah.
And so and that instinct's always there. Like I wrote term papers late at night because I was lazy and I didn't want to do the work until I felt really guilty.
Everybody has, right?
Everybody has an experience like that. I can't tell you that at the ethical state that I was in at age 19, if I saw an easy out and I was really tired and it was 1 a.m. and I'd already like taken a couple tries and I just didn't want to do it anymore.
And there was a shortcut somewhere.
I don't know if I wouldn't have taken it. I might have taken it. I probably would have
taken it. I probably would have taken it too.
And then I would have gotten caught and I would have felt really embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
That's the dynamic. But when everybody's doing it, and that's what's happened, it spread like wildfire. Like all the articles are kind of the same. The professors are just, when everybody's doing it, it's a crisis because the system that was working and the deal that was made and the contract that was signed, it's all just gone to heaven. It doesn't matter anymore, and you can't get the students to believe. And so when you ask me, I'll bring it back. When you ask me, what do I worry about with my kids? I think about this in general in the world. A lot of the contracts that we assumed were real between government, between industries, between disciplines and professions, people just seem ready to throw them away in ways that I never expected. And part of midlife, like it's a little overwhelming, but what I want to know is what's the contract for my daughter with this technology? What's the contract for my son? Like, I don't want them generating pornography with it. I don't want them turning in papers. I don't want them making up stuff instead of going out and learning about the world. I don't want them to believe it and trust it just because some big corporation advertised on the Super Bowl. Yeah. Right. And so, but all of those contracts aren't in place yet. And they were growing up, and I was taking them for granted, and so was everybody else. You were too. Yeah. And it's kind of blown up.
I'm not sure they're contracts.
They're social contracts. They're agreements. It's like sort of sociological.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing. I think they were products of just natural limitations. I'm going to give you an example. When I was in law school, they give you a search engine, a law search engine called Westlaw. I think they even give you LexisNexis, which are the two, essentially it's like Google for legal cases. Mm-hmm. Okay. I got my first summer job, intern. And so they give you this thing, and it's a miracle. You write your briefs first class, you study for finals with it. It was
you don't have to go to books. Like, and there's a lot of them, and they're boring. Yeah, you can just kind of get the papers.
I get a summer internship at a smallish law firm, commercial litigation law firm. And they're like, we've got a couple of cases. We want you to write the briefs on them. There's some, it's going to come up in front of the courts pretty soon. I'm like, okay, go do the research and come back. And I said, what's my login, my Westlaw login? Mm-hmm. They said Westlaw is really expensive. We don't have Westlaw.
Kid?
Yeah. So I'm like flipping through index cards in the New York Bar Association library in Midtown Manhattan, and I can't believe it. I can't believe if I have to do this.
It's like it feels like you suddenly have a brain injury. It's so slow.
Paul, I had to highlight certain sections. I did find cases that were relevant to the client cases that were in front of us, but I couldn't highlight them in the books. So I went to like a copy machine. I'd copy the pertinent pages so then I could highlight the sections. I felt like an animal, and I couldn't believe it. And I went back there, and I did a good job. I wrote a good brief. I got to use a computer to write the brief, but I had a pile of papers like this. And I said, I can't do this. This can't be how I live my life.
Let me ask you something. In doing that process, do you think you had to think a little harder and focus?
Without a doubt.
Okay, so is it possible that the product of that particular process was a better brief than if you had just been able to
100%. I'll tell you why. Because Westlaw is spitting out search results. And the truth is, the cases I found, the attorney that I was working for, who had done a lot of cases for this kind of commercial litigation, that was representing an oil company, said, you found cases I've never seen before. And it's because Westlaw's indexing just missed some of them or whatever.
Well, and it's the standard, so everybody kind of just goes back to it, and so that other stuff never showed up.
That's right.
Let me tell you, there's a tweet I think about a lot from back in the day, and I don't even remember it exactly or who it was, but when City Bike first rolled out, City Bike is a program that lets you borrow a bike right around the city. When they first rolled out e-bikes, they had a tendency to accelerate, throw you off, and possibly kill you. No, they didn't kill anybody.
It's very New York City.
It was just like,
cool.
I remember somebody going like, yes, I understand, but please don't take it away. I just get to go over the Manhattan Bridge so fast.
Yeah.
And I think when you give a human being a form of convenience, we will die for that. Like, we will die for our convenience. You just told me, yeah, of course, I created a better product. But if I said, okay, great, you should never go back to Westlaw, you would stab me in the throat with a lawyer pencil.
Yes. I would. I don't know what a lawyer pencil is, but I would.
Everything lawyers have is lawyer special to me.
You're totally right. Only the big law firms could afford these tools. The smaller law firms still went to the library. Like and the internet showed up, a product called FindLaw that sort of tried to kind of subvert them.
Yeah.
By like indexing whatever they could find on the web. And they tried their own thing. Here's where I'm landing. The tools are there and they're going to be there, and we morph into and create new specialized skills around the tools. So I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be quaint about it. Like the ship has sailed. They're going to use these tools. What I think is key, and I want to bring this back, and I want to share it with an example in terms of programming. What I think is key is that I know there are endless React libraries out there. You could always pluck stuff off the internet.
Back to technology, React is a library for creating components on the web.
There's all kinds of libraries that other programmers have created that you could pick up and use, so you don't have to write it yourself. But if you're going to be a programmer, you're going to have to write a few yourself. Like, even if you throw them away, just do it once. Do it once or twice. And I think that is necessary, and I'll tell you why. Because I think to be great at these tools and to be an expert at these tools, I don't know what the tools are my kids are going to use. It's going to be something that's plugged into their ear and just makes them think. To be great at those tools and not just be a node in a network, if you know those fundamentals, if you just exercise those fundamentals once, I'm talking about like a 6-week boot camp, you are a whole other person because you understand the context of those tools. I think you got to go and try it. You got to go and do it. And look, people do it today so they can feel alive. Like, there's people blowing glass in Brooklyn right now. Nobody asked them to, right?
No.
Because they want to feel like
Nobody's ever asked anyone and said, you need to go blow some glass.
Yeah, exactly. Or cooking class. Like, people do these things to sort of feel like they're building a
I'm learning piano.
You're learning piano.
I'm never going to be good.
You're never going to be good, but you're learning music theory, I'm assuming, and how to read music.
Yeah,
and
no, I have a teacher.
Things.
I mean, I'm definitely better than I used to be. One day I'll be able to play music, but not yet.
Do you think curriculums are going to have to think this way? Do you think education has to think this way?
Let me take this back, okay? Let's actually make a prediction based on past experience. There will be an enormous multi-year dialogue about the future of everything in the context of AI.
Sounds terrible.
It is never. You can't stop the dialogue. The discourse has to happen. That's how humans are. You can't. No matter what's going on, there'll be more discourse.
Yeah.
And this has sort of been the theme, kind of, and why we went in on this direction, even though we're pretty critical of the technology. You can't put it back in the box. Convenience will never go back in the box, and I'll tell you why. And I've said this over and over. I remember when I first saw Twitter, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It took human expression on the web and turned it into a little tiny box. These people are terrible. I can't believe this is happening. I felt that way about Facebook. And like, my joke is, if I hate something, you should invest in it. And like, with this one, I'm trying to be conscious of it in a different way. It grosses me out. I don't like a lot of it. The power with the coding and the stuff that we do is unbelievable, and I really do like that, so I'm mixed.
Yeah.
But it's not going back in the box. And so we're going to talk about it, and we're going to have a fantasy that's going to go back in the box. And the curriculum will have to adapt, and people will have to work through the crisis. But you can't skip it. You can't skip ahead. And so where do I think this ends? I think this ends with the kids are going to use it no matter what. So you better have a framework. They should understand how it works. And there should be contexts and places where, you're right. They have to learn underlying principles. They have to go figure stuff out. And the people who are, in general, if you figure stuff out and you go and you learn how something works, you do tend to be more productive and smarter in life. Like, it's a success strategy. Yeah. But a lot of people are just going to kind of use this stuff, and it's just going to how it's going to go. Yeah. And we're going to have to, and this is the bummer with this technology, even though I also kind of love it. We're just going to have to adapt to it. And I hate that. Tech is supposed to adapt to us. But in this case, it has come and it said, actually, culture is going to work this way now. Yeah. And I don't have a fight. I don't have a strategy to stop it, aside from we're going to start a commune and go to Vermont. And I would hate to do that without having ChatGPT tell me how to build the farmhouse. Yeah. So like, I think we're just entering a confusing phase. I think in a couple years, people will be like, well, this is what we do now. Yeah. It's on the syllabus. You're allowed to use it for this, but you're not allowed to use it for that. And you actually have to like record yourself writing it by hand. Yeah. But there's no stopping it.
Let me close it with a question.
Close with a question.
There's a couple people, I forget who said it. They're like, get a hold of yourselves. party's over, the 5-day work week's over, you'll work 2 days a week. Go find a hobby, go take a walk, go adopt a pet, go do some other things. The things that used to take a lot of time aren't going to take a lot of time anymore. So just go enjoy life. And you can work a couple days a week.
Something about that is sort of built into a society. Our society is
kind of the end of marriage.
We are not capable of enjoying life in America.
In America or in general?
No, there are culture. The Italians are very good at enjoying life.
They are. I went to an Italian restaurant like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
The guy took 20 minutes to get to me, and it was utterly normal in his mind. He was very Italian.
It's not for you.
It's not for New York City.
No. But there is 40 minutes on one of those little tumblers of or those little thimbles of limoncello, and you just talk about soccer.
You're right. Certain cultures are cool with rolling with it.
Any culture where they have like a special word for grandma, and that's like an hour of conversation, right? Like that. But we can't handle it. So what's going to happen in America? I mean, there are probably societies where they'll be like, well, we're going to just disperse a lot of this money and we're going to try to be productive and so on. Meanwhile, we'll continue to perform work, but not actually get a lot done. And then probably China just grinds, and they're going to have robots using AI manufacturing things, and they're going to go to town. I'm actually unfortunately very bullish because I would like to see us figure it out, but whew. So I think like those dynamics are coming. We're kind of a little bit off the thing. Let me ask you this: what your kid comes to you? My children are 13 years, or a little bit younger, and says, "Dad, I want a Claude subscription. Not even ChatGPT. I'm not in Sam Altman's world. Just Claude. Claude's a little nicer.
Yeah.
They have a special one for students. It's $12. Can I have it?
I'm inclined to give it to him.
Yeah, me too. I will say one last thing. I've said this in the newsletter. Universities have an amazing ability to actually decide how these tools are going to work because they really want their money. Like Claude really wants an education product. So does ChatGPT. It's a big market over time.
Right. They can collaborate and work together on what that looks like.
And they can say, I really want an LLM where provenance is clear. These books are included. These are not.
I think that conversation's happening.
I hope to God it is. Like I would like just a little bit of cleanup here.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of creating this giant AI Superfund site. Yeah. And that is a choice.
Yeah.
We had Patrick on last week, and he talked about how large orgs are making their own LLMs.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad scene. I think we should have collective databases that we all learn how to work with together as opposed to all retreating to our own corner. And you should know kind of the quality of the ingredients.
Yeah, with ethical guguidelines. It doesn't
have to be Erewhon. It's maybe like a little bit of Whole Foods would be nice. Just a little bit of like these strawberries were not, we're
call
picked
out to
in a
the
good way.
California supermarket that's $26 smoothies. Yeah. I think a plan will come together. I get paranoid about this stuff. I like sending my kid to camp where he can't do anything for 3 weeks. I think that's healthy, but maybe that's just me worrying.
I would say that the takeaway here is that this kind of conversation and cultural moment is an actual repeating pattern. And it used to be we only had one of these around technology like every 15 years. And now we're literally at like 3 per year. That's how much change is coming.
It's too much, yeah.
And it really does feel like you just feel like your face is just smeared with frosting all the time.
Yeah.
You can't get to bed, And so I think that, and we don't have a framework for that level of institutional crisis, and it doesn't help that the world's a mess. So I think like there's a lot of drama and there's a lot of people. Here's what I would say. I would actually say on this, don't pick a side. Don't decide that it's all evil. Don't decide that it's a future.
Yeah.
Just realize that it's a crisis generating machine and that we're going to have to learn together, and we just don't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, when you say crisis, it sounds negative and apocalyptic. I don't think that's what you mean. I think you mean we're going to have to revisit it.
What I'm saying is that like classic structures stop working and new structures must be created.
Yeah.
But that is a crisis.
Yeah.
It's just how you process it.
Yep.
My son and daughter had a crisis because my son ate some of her candy. And now we have new rules in the house.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. He just couldn't help himself.
The candy was left out, but it was for a birthday gift for a friend. So it really didn't go well. It was really well. And maybe strong words were said.
Cool. Very helpful.
All right,
Very
beloveds, if you need us, hello@aboard.com. We're building a great platform that will help everybody build all the software they ever needed, dreamed of, and wanted in their life, as long as it's kind of businessy and data-y. It's nerdy stuff.
I think we've already announced our event.
We're having an event June 3rd in the evening. You can go to our website or check out our newsletter, and you can come on by the office. And we're just nice, accessible people where we will treat you with respect and honor and give you a drink and a treat.
Yep.
So come and we'll do a demo and maybe even build you some software right while we're there, because we live in the bizarre future.
Have a great week.
Bye.